Do we have any questions for anyone to come in on their mic, or should I just pick from the chat? Any questions from anyone? For any of the speakers? No. Okay. Well, I have a few. I guess it's probably picking up on what James said at the end there. He mentioned about the stats in the US. Do we have any stats in Ireland in respect to MMC, particularly in the housing delivery? Michal, would you know this?
Yeah, like I suppose from our perspective, we're at a very small single figure percentage from an MMC perspective. If you look at some of the DFMA that's out there and panelizing timber frame, and if you take the volume of that goes into a unit, it's probably only about 25 or 30% of the end out cost. And not everybody is going that way, because I guess sometimes smaller sites aren't pressed for pace. So you're probably looking at relatively small percentages of take up, which is you know, great because it gives a large window to improve on, but it's not a great starting point.
Yeah, and I think it was Tom. I don't know, is Tom still with us there? He reflected on a question that I had. You know, given all these many benefits that have been spoken about this morning, you know, the quality benefits, the time benefits, sustainability, safety, logistics, why are we not seeing more of this? And I think what one of our attendees was saying is, well, not all clients have everything, you know, specified up front. So maybe it's only certain procurement methods that this suits. You know, do you have any reflection on that? That, you know, to go fully modular, to go as factory-based as you refer to, you know, you have to have very precise guidelines, requirements up front, and not every client has that in place. I might leave that to either any one of our speakers.
I think the main reason for the lack of take-up is just it's very early in the industry cycle, moving into the mid to high-end sector. And I think once there is a body of example projects, there will be a significant change in comparison to traditional. We've got Berkeley Homes, Legal in general. A lot of the main players are now moving on to market. You will see a huge shift in the UK in the next 5 years, move to MMC, because there will be examples and people will be living in MMC homes, and it will be significantly better. So we see examples and live examples, then it'll start to take up. This is a better product.
So we have a question from Tom McGowan, and this is to Michal. What impact would a doubling of a manufacturing capacity have on a unit cost of module?
Fairly significant. So when we were in our initial phase with relatively lower numbers, 17, 18, 19, we did 20 million euro turnover each year, 17, 18, 19, so 60 million across it. But you were probably looking at an overhead in the business of 17 or 18% at minimum. By doubling the capacity, you're going to increase the overhead slightly, but you're going to increase the turnover significantly. So if you double the capacity, you'd certainly be looking at probably a 7 or 8 or 9% reduction in the cost of modular. So you're looking at a fairly serious reduction, and that's part of the piece that we're talking about, where we're saying if the government came in and took capacity, or a private developer, whatever it might be, but took capacity, that you're going to gain that direct benefit of the reduction in cost.
Yeah, there was another, thank you very much. There was another question there from Albert. What are the quality logistic control measures in place when delivering modules from factory to site? And I think, Michal, you actually answered this on the chat. Do your quality procedures include for BCAR inspection?
Yeah, so like generally what we find is that when we get into the factory, you'll have your civil structural guys coming in doing their checks. You have your architects coming in doing their checks. We also have fire consultants coming in because we'd have accredited fire fire stopping installers that would be doing both the site and the factory. And the fire consultant will be coming in doing their checks, and we provide all the ancillary certification then. So it's no different to the traditional process. I suppose the benefit that the client will get, or the design team will get, is that they can check everything, that, you know, the module that's at the very, very start of the line to the last module, anything from 20 to 80% complete, those 60 modules can be checked in an afternoon. So it's a fairly simple enough process.
And of course, you have a controlled environment,
Hmm.
and you could actually digitize, capture all of installation in the factory, therefore giving the confidence to the authorities that you know, all of the correct quality procedures and fire barriers and so on have been put in place, which is notoriously difficult to do on site.
Yeah, Paul Brennan's on the line there. A couple of the guys in Paul's team went up to MHI maybe, I suppose, probably 9 months ago now, and digitized everything. So everything is run off BIM 360 field on the factory floor now. So it means that there's a photograph of every single contact, every single junction, every single detail. And that's openly accessible to all of the design team. And there's photographs taken every day in every module. So from a transparency and an ability to look back, there's a fairly significant benefit there.
Yeah, just everything is leaning towards MMC, so it seems to me a no-brainer and a game changer. Question from John Dennison there, to all speakers. How do you manage identification of modules to ensure they arrive on site at the right time in the right sequence? I might give that one to Rosanna. Were you okay with that question? So, sorry. How do you manage the identification of the modules to ensure they arrive on site at the right time and in the right sequence? Logistics.
We're actually working with a company. We use Procore, and basically Procore is an online digital platform where you can track from the manufacturing facility all the way onto site through QR coding. So we use a digitalized process. We've actually got a currently we're getting a grant from the Innovate UK grant funding for digital processes in something that we've created, a digital passport. It will go from kind of the moment of planning and inception all the way through to the manufacturing facility and then onto site, so you can track absolutely every stage of the delivery of the panel, so that you know that that panel is undamaged and performing to the levels that we say it can, essentially.
Very good, and of course one has to have a preferred platform, and Procure is the one that you've chosen.
Yeah, we've actually got a small documentary being released on the 4th of May with them about how we use Procore in our system. So if anyone's interested, then that will be on all of our social media. Well,
I promised I would finish on time, and now it's precisely 11:45 a.m. and I need to bring things to a close. Sadly, it's been a super event. Most of you I know have been working in this digital world for the last number of weeks. I do want to just personally say wish you all the best. Keep safe for you and your families at this time. We are going to get through this. But the presentations this morning were truly excellent, and I hope the attendees enjoyed. This conversation needs to continue, and it will continue in June when we look more at digital technologies, BIM, and how that, I suppose, leverages and supports the MMC process. I'd like to take this opportunity also to thank Barry McCauley, my colleague in TU Dublin, for preparing the case study documentation that went out to people over the last few weeks, and also the CitA team for the background support from Shannon and Suzanne, Elenia, and Sam, to Mihal, to James in London, to James in the US, and to Rosanna. You did a super job, really super job. The logistics team would work with you post this meeting to make your presentations available online to your requirements. And I'm sure, and I hope you can maybe find time to join us in June. And I want to just wish you all the very best from me personally and from all the audience here this morning.